Joining me to explain why being designated as brand safe could help grow that number even more is YouTube's Vice President of Global Solutions, Debbie Weinstein. Debbie,
Hi,
for those of
Michelle.
you, for those of Hi, for those of our viewers who aren't familiar with MCR or what brand safe means, what does this accreditation mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure a lot of your viewers might not be familiar with the MRC. The MRC has been around for about 50 years. They're a nonprofit industry association in the media and advertising industry. And what they do is validate the effectiveness of measurement systems. And so today's announcement is the MRC accrediting YouTube to actually have met their very high bar for brand safety protections. This is really important for us because our customers have told us that having third-party validation of our brand safety systems was essential to them. And that's why we are really humbled to be the first digital platform to reach this accreditation. With this accreditation in hand, we certainly remain relentlessly focused on brand safety and making sure we're prepared for whatever may come ahead. But at the same time, we're excited to spend more time talking to customers about what matters most to them, which is how we can help them grow their business.
What steps has YouTube made to ensure brand safety on its platform?
Well, responsibility has been our number one priority at YouTube for a number of years. And we really see our responsibility around protecting users, creators, and advertisers from any harm. We have made significant investments in people, in technology, and in policy development. And we really rely on a framework we call our 4Rs to make sure we are doing what we need to do on responsibility. This starts with the first R, which is removing content that violates our community guidelines. We're also looking to reduce borderline content while raising up authoritative voices. And finally, the piece that really matters to our advertisers is this piece around rewarding content that actually meets an even higher bar for brand safety. And that's actually the full set of things that we're doing on responsibility. And we report on them every quarter in something we call our transparency report.
Many jurisdictions have taken a lot of measures to protect user privacy, including CCPA and GDPR. There's many more who will do so in the near future. How is this going to affect YouTube's revenue going forward? And what are you guys doing to comply with all these new regulations?
Absolutely great question. I mean, we believe at Google that advertising is essential to keeping the web open for everyone. And at the same time, we all want to make sure that our identity and our information are safe as we traverse the web. And that's why we have long supported privacy-focused legislation that supports users and the industry. Over the past couple of years, we've actually updated our policies and our processes to make sure we're keeping pace with all of the regulations you mentioned and others. And we continue to be heavily engaged with policymakers and the ad industry to make sure we're delivering for all of our stakeholders.
Now, platforms have been under fire for allowing inciting rhetoric, and following the Capitol riots, YouTube actually demonetized content that might have incited some of this action. And then eventually, you guys decided to block former President Donald Trump's YouTube channel. Now, was this a change in policy, or has this always been the policy when it comes to content that might encourage more violence?
Well, let me just clarify, it's less about monetization and more about just what is allowed on the platform. And actually, we took steps from the moment where the states actually accredited the election results, which I believe was December 9th, to actually make anyone who was declaring or suggesting that the election in the United States had not been called, we determined that to be illegitimate to be on the platform. And so anything that used, for example, Stop the Steal was no longer allowed to be on the platform from early December. And then we took a number of steps beyond that, as you mentioned, around the Capitol attacks to make sure that we were, as I said, implementing those 4Rs I mentioned, removing content, but also importantly, raising up authoritative voices to make sure that the correct information was reaching our users.
Well, YouTube has become one of the leading advertising revenue drivers for Alphabet. What is next for the company in 2021?
Well, as I said, while we'll remain extremely committed to brand safety, we're particularly excited to have conversations about what matters most to customers. And what I'm hearing from them right now is there's two conversations they want to have with us. The first is around how we can help their businesses grow. But the second really interesting conversation has emerged since last summer's kind of reckoning with racial justice in this country, which is around how they can support a more diverse creator ecosystem and reach more diverse audiences. On the first part around helping advertisers grow, YouTube has invested a lot in making sure that we can support whatever matters to our customers. So if you're looking to launch a new product or service, we actually have the more reach among 18 to 49s in the United States than all of the television networks combined. So incredible opportunity to actually reach audiences with new messages. But similarly, if you're actually a direct response customer looking to drive an app download maybe or a lead generation, we have great solutions for you as well. And on the diversity front, we're actually in some really interesting conversations right now, trying to help customers understand all of the interesting pockets of audiences and artists they can support on the platform. One particularly interesting area is hip hop. Actually, hip hop had the 10 largest artists on YouTube and in the music industry last year were all in the hip hop genre. And so we're helping customers understand sort of that interesting dynamic and helping to make sure that they can support a diverse audience base.
I know I definitely spent a lot of time on YouTube during the pandemic, listening to new music as well. Do you think this trend of people really looking at streaming entertainment, whether it's YouTube or Netflix, do you think that's going to stay past the pandemic?
I definitely do. I mean, YouTube's magic is really about being the personal experience for everyone. Everyone can find something for them, and that's what makes this platform incredibly unique. There's not a programmer determining, what's on at a certain time, but anyone can go on and find and connect with their passions.
Well, thank you for joining us today. That's Debbie Weinstein, YouTube's vice president of global solutions.